We're live.
We're live here and now you're
We're
live there.
live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, there's my husband in the background. I can see him through the thing. Hey, can we talk about blue and gold sausage for a second?
Sure.
It's part of our topic. It's businesses. I need him to place a blue and gold order. Anyway. Okay, so what are we doing today?
Okay, we are talking about a lot of different things. We're calling it our popcorn day,
Yes.
as per Rachel. That was not a thing we came up with.
Popcorn business.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about popcorn, the food, but
Or a business of popcorn.
Although
I know we
Shawnee
eat
needs
my.
one.
They do. We
had
had one. And my children eat popcorn almost every night as part of our like routines in the evening.
Mhm.
So I bet we could support it. Anyway.
Probably. Anyway, so actually we are talking about we're going to touch real quick on some of the service changes we're having here, including our boarding facility closing. We're going to talk about how construction is happening and the impact that may be having on you guys.
Oh, Todd Johnson's watching. He's smoking.
Good morning, LJ. And then we're going to talk a little bit on like prescriptions and some of the hoops that we have to jump through, and therefore you guys have to jump through for your prescriptions because depending on, we'll get there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Dr. Keith talk probably about boarding first.
We'll get and then I'll let you talk about the prescriptions because mercy.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, we each have our strengths. So. Yeah. Anyway, we, you guys, if anybody's been by, good morning, Smokey. If anybody's been by here, there is some massive dirt work happening. You can see the chaos is beginning in preparation for our expansion. And we're really excited about it. Essentially what we did is we kind of started this process not quite a year ago where we started thinking about, where can we put our energy? So if you guys, I read a lot, but there was this book I read once that stuck with me and it was talking about your energy. So we all have like this energy, right? That you can have 100 little arrows going out like this far, or you can have one arrow that's just shooting up straight into wherever it is you want to go. And that's really kind of the premise behind what's happening here, which is focusing our energy and our efforts in what we excel at, what we are excellent at, and what our passion lies in. And so conserving our resources, focusing on the growth of what we really do best here, which is veterinary medicine, and even expanding into new services in veterinary medicine, which required us to kind of reel in some of the other things that we were doing. Like for grooming last year, they needed more space. We didn't have more space. And quite frankly, they do what they do without us. And so they were like, hey, we have these opportunities to do some really cool stuff. Like Christy went and worked from home, which was a dream of hers. And, so just really cool stuff like that then gave us a little bit more space to do veterinary medicine. And then essentially with the boarding facility, what we realized was that really everybody that we were hiring over there had the dream of doing veterinary medicine. And so that was kind of where all of our passions were lying. And there are boarding facilities that are just killing it out there in Shawnee that are doing, that is what they do. It is what they love doing. Some of them do the grooming. Most of them, I think, actually do grooming and boarding together, which makes a ton of sense. We're like, let them run with that. We just didn't feel like that the need in the community was required us to be in that space. And so it is allowing us to do some things like we're looking into rehab work, which is really cool thing for seniors, especially, which is one of Dr. Goodall's passions. And then of course, Dr. Trussell and his orthopedic work. It's just like a perfect fit for us. Yeah. So that's really what's happening right now. The construction that you're seeing happen is going to give us some more exam space. It's going to create a really cool, thank goodness. All y'all that have been waiting in our lobby ever so patiently will have less issues with that because a lot of the things that we're waiting on is just room turnover. And when someone comes in with a client or what client comes in with a patient and we think it's going to be one thing and then we realize, hey, there's something bigger going on. sometimes that 30-minute room turns into an hour-long room.
Mhm.
Or someone that we weren't anticipating seeing at all that day comes in and their pet is in severe distress. We're not going to be like, well, I'm so sorry, we
Our
can't.
next available is Tuesday at 4.
Right. And so it's like we've got to deal with this problem right now, which means, again, we don't have any rooms to keep things going for our patients that are waiting patiently in the lobby for us. And so this is going to give us more space for that, as well as a really cool surgical suite for Dr. Trustle's orthopedic work. And then, as we mentioned, a rehab space, which is not something available in our area. There's not really anywhere near here that does it. And so we're very excited about having the space for that.
Yeah. It'll be great when it's over.
Mm-hmm. It'll be great when it's over.
Not so great right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully August, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's if my contractor is listening to me, please forgive me for saying that.
July, June.
I just keep
July,
saying,
it'll be July.
in my mind, by Christmas next year, you will see a different north side.
Christmas next year.
To this year, Christmas
This year. I was like, if
Okay,
it's
I was
Christmas
like,
next year, I'm gonna
Jesus.
die.
Well, I've been saying it since 22, so
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's
by
right.
Christmas
Gotcha.
23,
Yeah.
we'll have a different place to decorate.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can live with that. So I guess that kind of does move us into construction right now. Parking is dire.
Oh, parking
Like,
is the worst. It's gonna get a lot better though
Uh-huh.
soon. Right now, just with the dirt work and getting ready to pour the pad for the expansion area, it's really bad. So please forgive us during that.
yeah.
We just squish in. Everybody hug your neighbor.
Yeah.
There's no personal space in veterinary medicine. We say that all the time, but now it's for your cars as well.
Yes, definitely for your
Mhm.
cars.
So hang in tight. Hopefully,
Yeah,
like in a few more weeks, we'll have most of the dirt area. So we'll start parking more back there and free up
Mhm.
some space in the front for the
Yeah.
clients.
So just pardon our mess, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Pardon our
It's a
mess.
big mess.
We're grateful for the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we are grateful for the rain, although it makes it a little trickier to park out there in grass. So
It does. Yeah.
anyway, okay. So did we
Alright.
cover what you wanted us to cover for the construction?
I don't know. What else?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So now we're moving on to prescriptions. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
next? Okay.
If
Good.
I had popcorn right now, it'd be awesome. I could just throw it at you guys.
Yeah.
That's what popcorn
That could
looks
be like our
Bam.
segue cue
Yeah.
is when you start sprinkling popcorn over
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
radio. Okay.
Okay, that's next. All right. So prescriptions. I don't know exactly what all you want, just like pricing and like.
Because we've just had a lot of changing around with, what like.
Yeah, let's talk about
chemobenzene.
inventory and pricing and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then we can talk about compounding.
Compounding. Okay.
That's really what gets eye rolls for me.
Just because I
Great.
learn something new all the time
Mhm.
to understand why things are the way they are. And I know the people getting it for their pets are in the
Mhm.
same feeling as sometimes I am.
Because a lot of it changed really quickly,
Yes.
dramatically,
Yes.
and it's outside of our control.
Yeah. So a lot of our in our prevention manufacturers, they kind of have like an MSRP on their product, and
Which is like your baseline sell
yeah,
price.
and so we don't always have a whole lot of control over what that is either set out or what we then set our prices to, because we're also competing with a bunch of online pharmacies,
True.
which oftentimes we are better priced than them.
We preventions,
On
our
preventions,
inventory
yeah.
manager monitors those really closely and tries to stay, slightly under them the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the sales that we make on preventions or medications do help support our staff in general. So that's, we're always grateful for
Yeah.
local shopping.
Yeah, people who choose to shop here, because we are a local business.
Mhm.
We're not able to buy in bulk like the Chewies and the Walmarts out there, and then undercut. So when you do buy here, you are helping
Support your community.
your community, the people that work here. And so, yeah, one thing about prescription prices too, you've probably noticed it with your own personal prescriptions, is they have gone kind of crazy
Mhm. Mhm.
the last
yeah.
6 months or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe even a little bit longer, but I feel like it really jumped significantly within the last 6 months.
Mhm.
And I think I don't know anything about human medicine, but my theory is that just everything because payrolls are higher, inflation is higher, everything is higher. It's just a massive trickle down. So it's the same thing as, buying eggs at the grocery store. It's not what it used to be.
Right. And we do try really hard to keep things affordable and keep budgets in mind. I mean, we all live on a budget too. And so we want to make sure that we're able to offer medications at a price that you can afford, because otherwise we're not helping your pet, right? And so
and Heather watches closely. She goes through like several different distributors, and she's monitoring the price from each one every time she orders, and we'll order it from the lowest available distributor, or the lowest priced distributor pricing, whatever, to keep it at a minimum. But it's still, some of it is outside of our control.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately a lot of it is, because
we have to buy it.
We have to buy it, and then we have to, we have to pay for it. So, and then I guess, so compounding. Oh, goodness. All right.
Popcorn.
Right. So compounding medications. For a while, we were doing a lot more compounding than we are currently. And part of that was to try and keep y'all's costs low. Compounding medications is sometimes, not always, but sometimes more affordable than getting the name brand, the manufactured stuff. Unfortunately, the FDA has started to kind of rein that in. They're sending out warnings to a lot of the large compounding pharmacies about how they've been doing things, and so we can no longer keep a lot of compounded stuff on our shelves to send out. And then we have to be able to justify within our medical records why we're doing a compounded product rather than a manufactured product.
Can you tell them what compounded means?
So compounded means that it's not produced in a manufacturing facility that's been regulated and inspected by the FDA. It's done by a compounding pharmacy who takes bulk substance. So they take let's say benazepril for just an example. They'll take a bunch of just raw product of that, and they'll create different ways, formulations to give it. So it may come in a liquid, it may come in a flavored tablet,
or a teeny tiny dosage. That, for a very small patient, that because a lot of the drugs we're working with commercially are humans, and so they, it's difficult for a 5-pound Chihuahua to take what a 150-pound human
should take. So that's what a compounding pharmacy is supposed to do, is offer it when other avenues are not correct for that patient. And one thing that has been happening and they're tightening down on is not offering it as a means of reducing cost. Unfortunately, the FDA specifically states that cost is not a reason to pursue compounding.
We can be in really big trouble.
So which is really frustrating for us, because sometimes cost is the only barrier to treating that patient. But we kind of try and work through that as best we can, make sure that we help you guys, with making sure we target our prescriptions as much as we can to make sure we're picking the right thing. But that's one reason why we've had to cut back on what we offer as far as compounded medication is just because the FDA is starting to really crack down on that. And unfortunately, that ties our hands some. So,
and the other thing that I think we've changed significantly on this level is that we are not able to keep in stock. So let's say, for example, you have a cat with a thyroid problem and they need a special medicine for that. A lot of cats won't take pills. So we have what's called a transdermal. You rub it on the cat's ear, like a little lotion, and it gets absorbed into the body and treats the condition. But that is a compounded drug. And so we, because it doesn't come commercially available in a transdermal, because people usually take pills. So what we used to do was keep some of those tubes around so that you could just come pick them up here. We are not allowed to do that long term anymore. So we're able to keep some to get patients started on an emergency basis. But then you have to get those directly from the compounding pharmacy. Even if, so some of our they're just like, nope, I can't handle that kind of technology
Mhm.
in my life, then we are still allowed to order it for that patient and have it delivered to the client, but we have to do it on a month-to-month basis.
Mhm.
We can't just keep it in stock to give you when you need it. And so that is not us being a pain. That is us trying to comply with the FDA regulations.
Because it's just as painful for us as
If
it
not
is
more.
for you guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
if not more, because now instead of
We have a
just
full-time staff member just for this.
doing that, I mean, just doing inventory, but
Yeah.
that's a big part of her job, is making sure those of you who are getting a compounded medication
Mhm.
for whatever reason knows where it's coming from, how to contact those people. If it's coming through us, she's making sure that it's you're getting called when it comes in, and that she's the one that's ordering it when you call up and say I need more. She's the one who gets the heartache when you run out, and
She's trying to figure out how to correct, because it takes about a week to get
Yeah.
those drugs in, which is why we're allowed to keep some, because
Uh-huh.
like if you have a 2-pound puppy that's got diarrhea and needs compounded metronidazole, like we don't have a week.
Yeah. So little grace with the compounding stuff too for us, because we are figuring it out a little bit as we go. Unfortunately, it's not like the FDA comes in and says, hey guys, so here's how we want things done.
That's not what they say.
No, they say you did this wrong, here's a fine.
Yeah, which we can't afford.
Yeah.
So profit margins in vet med are not high, so
No.
we can't afford fines. Anyway, so
Jumping through hoops.
jumping through hoops
Popcorn's
and
being
trying to
thrown at you.
comply. And and it's tough because they a lot of they do have FDA, as much as we like to rag on them, they do have safety at heart.
Mhm.
These the manufactured drugs that are commercially available, every lot number is tested. There's efficacy studies. They're making sure there's not contamination. They're verifying that the concentration is what it said it was going to be. We know this drug is going to do what it's supposed to do. And with compounding, there isn't that regulation. So to be fair, they have a point.
And there have been some really heartbreaking
Yes.
cases where compounded medications have killed.
Yeah, I have a colleague
Animals.
who it wasn't him, but it was one of the veterans he was working with had a compounded drug for a horse. Got the drug in, gave it to the horse. The horse dropped dead in the stalks, and they took that drug and had it tested. And it was the completely wrong drug in that bottle. So there are cases where this is a real concern. As much
Mhm.
as we are it's frustrating. We want to try to make all sides happy, but it's just it's brutal.
Mm-hmm. It is. So
that's what's happened on the backside.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Guys, y'all did wonderful.
Yeah. So any other big popcorn topics that you want us to cover?
No, that either of you.
We're
have a joke?
sorry that you had to wait. We're sorry that you had to pay more. We are sorry for other things, I'm sure.
We're just sorry in general.
But we're trying real hard.
But we love you and we love your animals.
There is a game plan here.
I think just part of what you want to know about Wednesdays is talking through the things that it's sometimes difficult to be able.
Put your foot on insurance. I've been wanting to say
Oh,
that
well,
for a
that's
while.
where I was headed. That
Please.
They don't always have the time to sit in the rooms and talk with you, or else somebody is waiting out in the lobby for over an hour.
Mhm.
And so the whole goal of these videos,
And honestly, even a lot of our staff don't have this background information because they're busy dealing with
what's
taking
right in front of
temperatures
them.
and weights
Yeah.
and maintaining vitals, and
Yeah.
we don't have time to sit down and talk to them about the FDA in depth either, like we want to.
Well, my goal in all these is if I have a question, Rachel, then everybody else has a question too.
Yeah.
Because if I'm wondering and I get to be here every day, then those of you who are putting your
Yeah.
pets on this and doing these things, y'all wonder as well.
Yeah.
So, and bringing that full circle around, the only thing that I was going to have you end up with before we have goodbye is, as all of these things change, where is the future of medicine going? Get your pets on
Insurance, that is the future. Like it or not, that is going to be the future of veterinary medicine, in general.
Yeah. I mean, just real personal story. And this is, I know Dr. Keith tells my story too, but I have 2 senior dogs, and even being in the industry, I spend so much money on them every month. And not something I was thinking when I got them. Sadie,
They were healthy,
when they were young and
puppies,
healthy, and everything was great. And now, I feel committed to them, of course, because they're my family, they're my pets. And so my youngest pet, although I am in the industry, and one would think that I don't pay for my exams. I don't pay for a lot of stuff, or I pay costs for a lot of stuff, but it adds up when they get seniors. And so my youngest dog is on insurance because I have now seen the future with my other two.
Yeah, I have an 11-year-old, or he's almost 11. I'm in denial.
I can't believe that.
I know. He's a spring chicken heart, though.
Yeah,
and he actually doesn't have a lot of health issues, but if I were to put him on insurance, it would be a lot now because of his previous, or what am I trying to say? Pre-existing conditions. And so my German Shepherd, which is the poster child for all health problems, is 14 months now, and he's on insurance. He's been on insurance since he was 4 months old. And so even though, like she said, we work in this industry, we can take x-rays for free, and we still have insurance on our dogs because that is where this is going. The writing is on the wall, and you don't want to be caught unaware. So. Okay.
Yep.
And joke, you got a joke? She wanted to send in a joke.
You guys don't have one?
My husband's really into dad jokes, and usually I have them right on top of my head because I've heard one recently, but I can't think of one.
So, did you hear about the 2 antennas that got married?
I did not hear about the 2 antennas that got married.
Well, the wedding wasn't that great, but the reception was excellent. You're welcome.
I love a good reception.
You're welcome.
Okay,
sure.
All right. Okay. Okay. That's all. Have a good day. Bye.
Finish. And I think you have to hit it. Yep. Again. Thanks, guys.